out-of-body experience.
Welcome to the Brothers of Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to the Brothers Wrestling Podcast with your host, Logan, and... I'm just kidding, he's not here today. Unfortunately, Hayde has come down with a little bit of an illness, unfortunately right before WrestleMania, and he can't talk. He lost his voice. So it's just your boy Logan for today to preview WrestleMania. We've got Night 1 and Night 2 to discuss. Now, Hayde did give me some notes that he wants me to bring up for you guys, for his point of view, for his opinion, his thoughts, and his predictions for what he thinks is going to happen for WrestleMania. So we will get into those in a second as well. But I want to first start off by saying I can't believe that it is WrestleMania season. WrestleMania is always one of the best times of the year in the wrestling community, maybe the best time of the year in the wrestling community. And this is our first WrestleMania as a show because we started the podcast late last year into the summer, late in the summertime, I think it was, sometime in maybe July or August is when the podcast began. So we obviously missed out on WrestleMania last year as a podcast. But this year we get to cover it. So unfortunately, Hayde doesn't get to be here for the previews, but he will be here live and in person for the post shows that we will cover. But let's get into actual WrestleMania coverage here. So we are going to be previewing Night 1 and Night 2. I'll put up the Night 1 episode right before, hopefully, Night 1 of WrestleMania on Saturday, and then the Night 2 preview goes up, obviously, before Night 2 of WrestleMania on Sunday. So let's talk about some of these matches we got going on here for Night number 1. So the two matches that are going to be going on the 1-hour ESPN feed before they get it to ESPN Unlimited or whatever, they are going to be Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre in an unsanctioned match. And then we've also got the Usos and LA Knight versus The Vision and Speed. But we'll talk about the Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu match first. So basically, Drew McIntyre, former WWE champion, Cody Rhodes beats him the SmackDown after Elimination Chamber. Very strange decision, in my opinion, and in Hayden's opinion as well. And then that leads to obviously where we have now, which we'll get to in a little bit, which is the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton WWE title match. But we didn't really know where Drew McIntyre's storyline was headed. We kind of thought, we were predicting on the show earlier that it might have been a triple threat, Cody versus Drew versus Jacob. That's kind of the way that they were leaning because Jacob was getting involved in Cody matches and Drew matches, and Drew was getting involved in everything. Drew was costing Cody all these times. He cost him the Rumble, cost him the Chamber, all that kind of stuff. So we thought that maybe they were going to do some sort of triple threat. That ends up not being the case, as we know. And now we have Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. And I got to give them credit. They have built a pretty heated little month-and-a-half rivalry here. At least, I know the full rivalry hasn't been a month and a half, but this like little build-up right here at the last stretch to WrestleMania has been kind of a pretty solid, heated rivalry. I mean, they even fell off of a billboard on one episode of SmackDown. So they've done some pretty good stuff between Drew and Jacob. And I definitely think that this WrestleMania match could be like an underrated one, maybe even a steal the show type of thing. I know it's going to happen the first match of the night, but I think it could be pretty interesting. Now, some of the stuff that Hayde wants to talk about for this Drew McIntyre Jacob Fatu match is that he thinks this might not even start in the ring. Since this is an unsanctioned match, and since there's so much heat between these two guys, he thinks that we're not even going to get entrances. We're going to get maybe a camera like panicking and running backstage, and we see Drew McIntyre and Fatu fighting in Gorilla or fighting backstage by the garage area or wherever they're fighting at, and then it spills out into the ring because this is an unsanctioned match. There's no rules, there's no limits, there's no referees going to be stopping them. I think the referee's only there to count the pin, so there's no sanctions on anything here. And Hayde thinks that there could be some sort of backstage brawl that begins the match, and we don't even get the entrances, which I do think that we could get. If that's not where they go and they actually give us entrances, I do think the McIntyre and Fatu entrances could be pretty sick. I mean, Jacob Fatu on SmackDown, the go home show of SmackDown, came out in a cop car. So if that's what he's doing on the SmackDown before WrestleMania, who knows what his entrance is going to be like on the actual WrestleMania, if they actually get entrances. Like Hayde doesn't think they are. He thinks there could be a chance where they do some sort of altercation backstage before entrances even happen. And Hayde's pick for the winner is going to be Drew McIntyre, because for selfish reasons he has Drew McIntyre drafted in his in the BOW fantasy draft. So for him, getting Drew McIntyre a win would be helpful for him. But he also thinks there could be a no decision where both guys throw themselves off of the stage or like through a car or some sort of big massive moment where they both get taken out by each other and they both can't get up and it's a no contest, no decision type of thing. So those are kind of some of the things that Hayde's thinking for the Drew McIntyre Jacob Fatu match. My personal pick for this match, I think that Jacob Fatu is going to win. That's my pick. I hate to do it because Drew McIntyre, he's gotten screwed. Let's just be real. He's gotten screwed. And I think that it's going to continue. I think Jacob gets the win because I do think that there's some big plans for Fatu post WrestleMania, headed into possibly SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series, something like that, where he's a main event player competing for the world title or the WWE title, wherever he ends up. And maybe even a Money in the Bank type of situation where he wins the Money in the Bank. I could see something like that happening. So I think there's big plans for Jacob Fatu, and I think it starts right here at WrestleMania. Now, where Drew goes if he loses, I have no idea. Maybe you turn him face, he takes some time off, you turn him face. But a character like Drew has been so good as a heel these past couple years that I don't know if you want to turn him face. I mean, he's been so good as a heel. I mean, he's tweeted live during matches that he's bored at work. I mean, those are classic Drew McIntyre heel moments, and I don't know if you want to give that kind of stuff up for him to be a face again, because I feel like he's been way more over and way more popular as a heel than he has ever been as a face. So I don't know. We'll see where we go, but my pick is Jacob Fatu for the first match of WrestleMania Night 1. And the second match is the Usos and LA Knight in a 6-man tag versus The Vision and Speed. Now this one's kind of gotten out of hand a little bit. LA Knight's been kind of in the Vision vortex for a while, and Speed being in this is weird. Not having the WWE tag team or the World Heavyweight Tag Team titles defended on WrestleMania is also a little bit weird. Neither of the tag titles, the WWE one or the World Tag Team, are not being defended on WrestleMania, although Priest and R-Truth did defend them on SmackDown. So this match is very strange because it feels like they didn't have a direction to go in once Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed got hurt a couple months ago, and then they give Logan Paul and Austin Theory the tag titles, which I don't think is a bad idea. I think giving them the tag titles is fine because, like Paul Heyman said on one of the Raws recently, he said that the Vision needs leverage. They need power. They didn't have any power. They kicked out Rollins. Braun Breaker got hurt. Bronson Reed got hurt. And then it was just the Vision of Paul Heyman, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Nobody takes that seriously. So they need a little bit more power, and the World Tag Team titles can give them a little bit of power, a little bit of leverage. So I think that giving them the tag titles was a good move. Just the way that they've gotten to this 6-man tag seems a little bit strange. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure Speed's going to do fine. He's going to have a moment or two where he shows off his athleticism because Speed is a freak athlete. I don't know if you've ever seen Speed in any of his clips where he's like challenging somebody to a race or playing soccer or playing flag football, like whatever he's playing or whatever he's doing, he's a freak athlete. He's very gifted as an athlete. So I'm sure he's going to be able to perform some sort of, I don't know how much training he's had. They showed a video package on Raw of him doing one training session, but I'm sure he's been doing a couple more. Obviously, that's just the one that they're showing. So I'm guessing that he's going to pull out some sort of crazy spot where maybe he jumps through the announce table off the top rope like Logan Paul's done in the past, or maybe he does some sort of springboard move. Like I'm sure he's going to do something athletic to pop the crowd and show off that he is really a freak athlete, because he is. So that's probably going to happen. I would guess that my pick for the winner is going to be the Usos and LA Knight, because obviously you're going to have the good guys win. And I think what's going to happen, how they get to that, is Speed is probably going to cost Logan Paul and Austin Theory the win somehow. I don't know. Maybe he screws up a move and it gets Logan Paul messed up and he ends up getting double super kicked and then Uso splashed, or maybe Logan Paul tries to give Speed the brass knuckles, and Speed doesn't want to do it at first. He's kind of like timid, and he's scared to use them. He doesn't want to do it, but then he actually does, and he misses because he accidentally hit LA Knight on Raw with the brass knuckles. So maybe they do that same kind of thing, but then they turn it and he hits Logan Paul, and that's how the good guys win. So my pick is the Usos and LA Knight. Hade's pick is the Vision and Speed. And he does have some notes here saying that there's going to be some comedy with Speed, and he thinks that Speed's going to impress, kind of like what I was thinking, where Speed is going to get at least one or two moves in that's going to pop the crowd, and he's going to show off his athleticism. He also thinks that Tom Brady could get involved in this match. Now, Tom Brady, if you don't know, Tom Brady had, in the past month or so, has gone on different interviews and different things where he's been heard saying that WWE's not real, it's fake, it's not real sports. He was basically just dogging the business. And Hayde thinks that this could be worked into an angle. I mean, it's in Vegas. Tom Brady co-owns the Las Vegas Raiders. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I think that it's actually in Allegiant Stadium, which is the home of the Vegas Raiders. So it does make a lot of sense that they could turn this into an angle. I personally don't think that it was anything more than just Tom Brady talking because he's Tom Brady. He does what he wants to do. He says what he wants to say. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tom Brady's going to be in the front row and he's going to get involved. Maybe Logan Paul goes up to him, talks to him, because Logan Paul has this weird gimmick where he's an outsider, but he likes to call other celebrities outsiders when he likes to think of himself as an actual wrestler. So maybe they do that where Logan Paul goes up to Brady. They have a shoving match or something, and then Brady gets involved, and maybe that's how the good guys win. I have no idea. But that wouldn't make any sense because Brady, his comments would make him a heel, and then he'd be arguing with the heel team. So I don't know. But Hayde thinks that Tom Brady could get involved in some way, whether he's the cost of the match or something. I don't know. But Hayde thinks that Brady could get in there because of his comments and everything. So those are the two matches that are going to be on the first hour on ESPN Live, like actual cable ESPN for free. Those two matches on night one. And then as we get into ESPN Unlimited, stuff you got to pay for, we get into the 4-way women's tag team match with the tag team champions, Lash Legend and Nia Jax. You've got the Bella Twins. You've got not Becky Lynch. You've got Lyra and Bayley. And then you've got Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. Now, I have heard some rumors. There was a breaking story that former WWE superstar Paige has re-signed with the company on a multi-year deal. Now, whether she is involved in some way in WrestleMania, which we'll get to in a second, or what I think is going to happen is she's going to show up the Raw after WrestleMania. I think that's what's going to happen. But the reason I bring her up now is because I did hear some rumors that she is going to be the one to replace Nikki Bella in the tag team match, because Nikki Bella did get hurt in one of the matches recently on a Raw. She hurt her ankle, I think it was. And I'm not sure, from what I'm hearing from the rumor reports, that she's cleared to go yet. So I bring up Paige, which I don't even know if she's truly signed yet. That's just kind of what the internet was talking about, that she had reportedly signed a multi-year deal with WWE again. There's rumors, the hot rumors right now are that Paige is going to be the replacement for Nikki Bella, and she's going to team up with Brie, which if that's what happens, then I would pretty much guarantee that Brie and Paige would win, because you're not going to bring Paige back, somebody that the WWE Universe has been wanting back in WWE for a while. You're not going to bring her back just to lose to somebody else. But if Paige is not the replacement and Nikki Bella can go, or if it's somebody else that goes in replace for Nikki, then I could see a world where Lash and Nia retain, or my pick for the match, for the win of the match, is going to be probably Bayley and Lyra, I think is where I'm going to go, because obviously there's that big year-long storyline right now with the whole Bayley situation, where last year she was supposed to team with Lyra to win the tag team titles. She got taken out before WrestleMania by Becky Lynch, which we found out later was Becky Lynch. We didn't know at the time it was Becky until she returned. And then Becky and Lyra win the tag team titles. They go on to lose them the next night on Raw, unfortunately, which is really weird because that's when Becky turns heel on Lyra. But I think this could be a full circle moment. Bayley didn't get that WrestleMania moment last year. I think her and Lyra do get the titles this year. And so that's my pick for the tag team, who wins the tag team match. But I think it's going to be a good match. Now, I was pitching previously that I think this should have been a TLC match, kind of in the esque of the Hardys, Christian and Edge, and Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys. But unfortunately, that's not where they go. We are going to have a ladder match on the show. It's just not this match. I think it could have been cool to see the women in a TLC match, but that's not the direction they chose to go in. So Hayden's notes for this match are he's going to go with the Bella Twins for the win and getting the tag titles, which I could see, like I said, but I don't think that Nikki and Brie, if Nikki can go, I don't think they win the tag titles. I think that if Nikki's replaced by Paige, I think her and Brie win the tag titles. If it's somebody else, I'm going to go with any other situation other than Paige is the one that replaces Nikki Bella. I'm going to go with Bayley and Lyra. So Hayden has the Bella Twins on his choice of who wins. He also thinks that this could be a breakout match for Lash and Lyra, which I don't know if Lyra necessarily needs a breakout. She's kind of already technically broken out. She's a very good wrestler, and she's pretty popular right now, so I don't know if technically she would have a breakout. I mean, maybe on the biggest stage of WrestleMania, maybe that could be considered a breakout, but definitely I agree with him on this being a breakout for Lash Legend. I mean, she's already kind of broken out already with just being on SmackDown doing her insane stuff that she's been doing right now with Nia. She's a fantastic athlete, fantastic wrestler, and I think this could be, I do agree with Hayden that this could be a big-time breakout for Lash on the grandest stage with all the eyeballs watching. I think that Lash is going to put on a pretty good performance. Unfortunately, I don't think she's going to win. I think it is going to go back to, Bayley and Lyra. So next up, we've got AJ Lee defending the Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. This has been a long-running storyline. We obviously know the history. We had War Games where AJ Lee taps out Becky Lynch to win War Games. We had the mixed tag match with Seth and Becky versus AJ and Punk. And I think AJ taps out Becky in that as well. I'm not 100% sure if she did it in that. I know that AJ and Punk win. I just don't remember how the finish happened. And then obviously AJ beats Becky for the Intercontinental title. So AJ defending the title against Becky. Her first WrestleMania in a long time since, what was it, WrestleMania 32, 31? I think it was 31. It's been a long time since AJ's been on the grand stage. And I personally think she's going to lose the title. I'm going to agree with Hayden. Hayden has Becky Lynch winning the Intercontinental Championship. I think, I thought initially that I was going to go with AJ because I'd like to see AJ still on TV and doing some things. I enjoy that she's back. But I think now I've changed my mind now that I've seen these reports, because this is what I was talking about with Paige showing up on the Raw after WrestleMania. I think I saw this somewhere and I really like it. It's gotten in my head and I can't get it out. I think that Becky Lynch is going to win the Intercontinental Championship, get it back against AJ Lee at WrestleMania. And then the Raw after WrestleMania, she's going to come out and she's going to be so excited, she's going to issue an open challenge. She's going to say, I beat AJ Lee. Nobody in that locker room can beat me. So anybody's going to come out. And you're wondering who's going to come out. And then you hear that screech, that iconic theme song of Paige. And Paige comes out and she challenges Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I could see this going either way. This scenario works either way. It works with Becky or it works with AJ. I guess it kind of works a little bit more with AJ because if you remember, Paige debuted in the main roster by beating AJ Lee for the Divas Championship. So maybe I should go with AJ because that kind of makes more narrative sense. If Paige is going to return on the Raw after WrestleMania, that could be pretty cool. And she beats AJ for the Intercontinental title just like she did for the Divas title. That could be pretty sick, actually. But, I mean, it works both ways. Becky with her overconfidence, not thinking that any other woman on the roster could beat her, and then Paige returns to WWE after all this time, and she's the one that beats her for the title. That could be pretty sick as well, but I don't know, maybe I should switch my vote to AJ because of the narrative purposes of the whole AJ and Paige situation. That could be actually pretty safe. You know what? I'm going to change my opinion. I'm going to change my vote. I'm going to say AJ Lee retains the Intercontinental Championship over Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and then she goes to Raw, and she has some sort of promo where, I don't know, she says she's done with Becky, she's put her in the past, she's in the rear view, and she's looking to the future, and then you hear that screech, that iconic theme song from Paige. Paige returns, the crowd goes crazy, and then they have some sort of promo, some sort of conversation where AJ respects Paige, Paige respects AJ. AJ's a fighting champion. She says, you know what, since you're back, this is your first night back, why don't we have a championship match? Why don't I give you a championship match? Because I respect you so much, and I want to test myself against you. And so then they have the championship match, and Paige ends up beating her. That I could see it going multiple ways, especially if Paige returns Raw after WrestleMania and not at WrestleMania. So, and this, I'm banking all this on the rumors being true that Paige is actually returning and actually did sign a multi-year deal. Who knows if that's actually true or not, but I kind of like that theory of Paige coming back Raw after WrestleMania and challenging AJ or Becky, either one. But it does make more narrative sense if it is AJ. So I think I'm going to change my vote. AJ is the one who wins the title at WrestleMania. Hayden's vote is Becky Lynch. So we'll see if either of us, or well, obviously one of us is going to be correct. We'll see which one of us is correct. Next week, Hayden's notes for this. I guess I should have talked about that. Hayde doesn't think, the reason he has Becky Lynch being the one who wins is because he doesn't see AJ Lee being around much after WrestleMania. He thinks that she's going to take some more time off, go away for a little bit off camera, because we don't know. I mean, we don't know what her contract is. We don't know if she signed a full-time deal. We don't know if she signed a Legends deal. Like, how long is she back? Is she just back for this build to WrestleMania and then drops the title to Becky and then's gone again for a while? Who knows what she's gonna do. So Hayde thinks that she's gonna be leaving after WrestleMania. That's why he's choosing Becky. And then he also thinks that Becky's probably gonna have to cheat to win the match. Maybe a little roll up with the holding of the ropes or some sort of dastardly tactic gets Becky the championship. She did try to curse AJ Lee with Danhausen, but Danhausen didn't want to do it, so that didn't work. So that's not the tactic she's going to use, but he thinks that there could be some sort of underhanded tactic to win for Becky Lynch. Next match on the card is kind of one that got thrown together the last couple of weeks, and it is the Seth Rollins versus Gunther match. Seth Rollins versus Gunther. This one is probably going to be the one that I don't even know if you can say steals the show, because it's two of the greatest to ever do it going after each other on the grandest stage of them all, and people already think it's going to be one of the best matches on WrestleMania, maybe the best match on WrestleMania, and maybe the best match of the year. And that's saying something. So Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Hayde thinks that it's going to be the night one show stealer. I kind of agree with him. I think I don't see how it doesn't become the night one show stealer. The only way that it doesn't is if Seth Rollins' knees can't go like they used to, or like how he wants to. So, but I mean, Gunther can make a broom have a good wrestling match. So Gunther's going to drag him to a 5-star no matter what. So this match is going to be a banger. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be good. And Hayde thinks that Gunther's not going to be able to be stopped. He picks Gunther to win this match because Gunther is the wrestling machine. He is the career killer. Now, he's not going to kill Seth Rollins' career, obviously, but there is this whole favor that Gunther had brought up to Paul Heyman a couple of weeks ago, because Paul Heyman did not know that Gunther was going to challenge Seth Rollins to a match at WrestleMania. He was not in the know about it, but Gunther backstage had mentioned that if he's able to beat Seth Rollins, that that Paul Heyman is going to have to owe him a favor. And we all know how Paul Heyman is with favors. It doesn't really go very well, does it? So he thinks that the favor for Hayde thinks that the favor for Gunther and Paul Heyman is that Braun Breaker returns at WrestleMania, lays out Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker is the favor that Gunther and Paul Heyman were talking about. So, I mean, I don't really, my personal opinion, and I've talked about this on Fool's Paradise, because I have Braun Breaker drafted in my roster for the BOW fantasy draft, so I've been kind of more invested in Braun Breaker, and it sucks that he had that hernia, and has been out. So my personal opinion on what I think Braun Breaker's going to do, I've been mentioning, I've been pretty vocal about it, is I think Braun Breaker returns the night after WrestleMania, which, I mean, you got to build up Raw after WrestleMania. That's always a pretty epic show. A lot of returns, a lot of debuts, a lot of stuff happens, usually, if they do it right on a Raw after WrestleMania. So I think Braun Breaker returns. That's when he takes out Seth Rollins, because I also am going to choose Gunther as my winner of this match. So not only because I have him drafted as well in my fantasy draft, I also just like Gunther a lot. And I think he's so. And it really sucks because both of these guys you want to see win, because both these guys are kind of like that kind of guy where like where do they go with their storyline if they don't win? But I think it makes more sense for Gunther to win, because he's the career killer. He's unstoppable right now. And my opinion on what the favor is, I think the favor is that Gunther, since Paul Heyman is connected to Brock Lesnar, I think the favor is that Gunther takes out Seth Rollins, warms him, or softens him up for Braun Breaker to attack Seth Rollins on Raw, and then they build that storyline. We go in that direction with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker for Backlash or for Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, whatever it is, or Clash in Italy, wherever they go. And I think the favor is Paul Heyman has to get Brock Lesnar to fight Gunther in a retirement match at SummerSlam. SummerSlam is going to be in Minnesota this year. Brock Lesnar is from Minnesota, or at least he's from that area. I think he's from Minnesota. And Gunther is the career killer. He retired John Cena, retired Bill Goldberg, and he retired AJ Styles. So I think Gunther, the favor is that Gunther wants to retire Brock Lesnar. And he's going to take out Seth Rollins so that now Paul Heyman owes him a favor. He wants Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam to retire him officially, and that's going to be the favor. So I think that's the direction we're going to go in. But Hayes thinks the favor is Braun Breaker. I think the favor is Brock Lesnar. So we'll see where we go. But me and him both choose Gunther as the winner of this match. The next match is the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Stephanie Vaquer defends against the had a stroke there, I apologize. The Royal Rumble winner, Liv Morgan. Now, this is pretty personal for me because I have Liv Morgan drafted in the fantasy draft. I think Hayde has Stephanie actually drafted in the fantasy draft. So this is a battle of our two picks. And unfortunately, I didn't get Liv Morgan's Royal Rumble points, which kind of sucks, but that's a story for another day. So I'm going to choose, I think we all know, I'm going to choose Liv Morgan as the winner of this match. Hayde is going to choose Stephanie Vaquer. That's pretty easy. But Hayde's notes for this are that he thinks Vaquer is going to win mostly for fantasy, but he thinks it's a toss-up match, but he chose her because he has her drafted. And he thinks it could be a show stealer as well as a really personal fight. I mean, we've seen this rivalry on Raw absolutely skyrocket in terms of personal vendettas and personal bitterness between the two women. I mean, Liv Morgan has called Stephanie's mom a hooer, and she's called her just all kinds of horrible, just disgusting, dastardly names, and Stephanie's done some unspeakable things to Liv Morgan. She's disfigured her face and Roxanne's face as well by bashing their skulls against each other, and she said that Liv Morgan doesn't deserve anything that she's worked for because she was given it all and she didn't have to work in the indies like Stephanie did and work across the country like Stephanie did. So it's gotten real personal real quick. Out of all the championship matches, this one's probably the most personal, even though that includes Roman and Punk. And it's crazy because you wouldn't think that this match between these two women would have gotten so personal. They weren't really given all that much to work with because Rhea was going to take on Jade. So the fact that this has gotten so personal and it's actually become really interesting and a really good build, I'm kind of into this match. I think, and I like both Stephanie and Liv. They're two of my favorites in the women's division right now. So I think that Liv's going to win. I mean, it just makes the most sense narratively because she's been building to this since the Rumble. She wins the Rumble finally for the first time. She gets the chance to win the Rumble, and then she chooses Stephanie to be her WrestleMania opponent. Stephanie's had a good run as champion, but I think it makes the most sense that Liv Morgan gets the World Championship. Where she goes after that, I have no idea. Does she challenge maybe Tiffany Stratton gets involved, although Tiffany's on SmackDown, so that doesn't really make much sense. But I guess there could be maybe some sort of draft or something at some point down the line that could get Tiffany back on Raw. Maybe Becky Lynch moves on from the Intercontinental title match or title scene and goes to the world title scene. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that could happen. Or obviously Stephanie gets a rematch at Backlash or something. So a bunch of stuff could happen, but I do think that I agree with Hayde that this could be a show stealer type of match, and it's definitely going to be really personal, just considering what's happened in the Raw promos and segments that they've had on the lead up to this. But I'm going to choose Liv Morgan. Hayde's going to choose Stephanie Vaquer. And then we go to the main event of night number 1. Cody Rhodes defends the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. Yes, Randy Orton. He won the Elimination Chamber. He was supposed to fight Drew McIntyre, but then Drew McIntyre loses the championship to Cody Rhodes. And now we've got Cody versus Randy. Now this has been something. This has been quite the match, I will say that, or quite the build-up. We've gotten some interesting things happening, including the involvement of some celebrities. Jelly Roll, to be one on Cody's side. Pat McAfee, or CM Punk called him Pat McAfee, on the Orton side. And Pat McAfee will be in Randy Orton's corner at WrestleMania. And this has obviously been very controversial. It's been a hot button topic on social media in the IWC. Nobody likes it, as you would expect. I mean, why Pat McAfee needs to be involved in this match of 20 years of history makes pretty much no sense, but there are the heavy rumors, and pretty much confirmed rumors at this point, that TKO and Ari Emanuel and the people, the actual top guys, the actual head brass, the guys at the very top that control all the money-making decisions and everything, they have gotten their grubby little fingerprints all over this, and they're the ones that have wanted Pat McAfee involved in this championship match to, I don't know, boost ticket sales and boost the eyeballs that are going to be on ESPN, because they want Pat McAfee's a big name. He's a big part of ESPN with his show and everything, so, and all the stuff that he does. So they probably just want to try to boost that. But it didn't really go down the way that I think they might have wanted it to go. I don't think if they expected it to wrestling fans to be okay with Pat McAfee's inclusion in this match, then they're stupid. I don't know if that's necessarily what they thought. I feel like they kind of knew it was going to get this kind of backlash, but maybe they thought that they're in the mindset of all press is good press, even bad press. So maybe they thought as long as people are talking about it, they're going to watch, because they want to see Pat McAfee get beaten up by Cody Rhodes. They want to see something happen to him. They want to see him, basically just want to see him go away. And Cody Rhodes could make that happen. So I don't know if that's their thinking, or maybe they were just completely ignorant to the situation. They thought, yeah, we'll throw Pat McAfee into this. Put Pat McAfee into this. He's a big name. He's been around the company for a while. Just throw him into this. Sure, why not? And then it'll go well. Nobody's going to hate it. So there's really no way to know what they were thinking unless they come out and say it. So, and they never will. So who knows what they were actually thinking, why Pat McAfee got put into this. But we'll see what happens. Hayden's notes for the main event match. He thinks that McAfee's going to get involved, which obviously is probably going to happen. I don't think there's any question that Pat McAfee is not going to get involved. And he thinks that that's going to lead, McAfee's involvement is going to lead to Jelly Roll coming out, which I also think is going to happen. I mean, there's no way that Jelly Roll doesn't come out. So we're going to have a McAfee Jelly Roll situation. And then we get down a little bit of a crazy path with Hayde. He's got a note in here that says we could see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson come out. Yeah. He thinks that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could come out. There's rumors that Rock is in Vegas, which obviously they're going to be rumors that he's in Vegas because it's WrestleMania and it's in Vegas, and obviously The Rock wants to tease stuff like that even if he's not coming out. So Hayde thinks that there could be something. He also put in here that it could be a letdown. It's probably going to be a letdown if The Rock does come out, because Rock right now, after the whole Final Boss storyline ended, he doesn't have a good track record when it comes to returns and building up, setting up storylines, and then just having them fall flat on their faces. So he thinks it probably could be a letdown if The Rock does come back. And I personally don't think The Rock's going to show up. I think it'd be weird. I know he does have that connection to Cody Rhodes and everything, but I don't know, it just seems a little strange that he would also be put into this main event. I mean, the main event's already pretty loaded. It's probably going to be heavily overbooked. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy main event. But for who's going to win, Hayde and I both think that Randy Orton is going to be the winner of this match. I just think it makes the most sense. Cody got the title back so that they could do this personal storyline, although they went in a weird direction with Pat McAfee. We've talked about that, how it could just be, it's not the creator's decision, it's TKO's decision, it's Ari Emanuel's decision, but that's a whole nother thing. But I just think it makes the most sense that Randy Orton gets his 15th championship. They've been talking about it a whole heck of a lot. They've been talking about it almost as much as John Cena getting his 17th, which obviously they're not the same thing. 15 puts him in, I think, third place over Triple H, officially. So he's behind Flair and Cena then. But they've been really building up number 15 as like this huge milestone. And it is. I mean, 15 titles obviously is very impressive. And it's historic. It puts him third all time. Will he ever pass Cena? Probably not. I think they're saving they're probably not thinking about it right now, but I think they would want somebody younger, like a Javon Evans or an Obafemi or a Trick Williams or a Braun Breaker or somebody of that ilk to be the one to, if they ever choose to do it, pass John Cena and get 18. But I don't know, that's way down the line. That's decades in the future. So we don't have to think about that right now. But I don't think Randy Orton's the guy to pass John Cena. So if he gets 15, if he ties Flair at 16, I could definitely see that. But I don't ever see him tying Cena at 17. So we both have Randy Orton winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania Night 1, beating Cody Rhodes. It just makes the most sense. Randy gets his 15th. He beats Cody. Maybe he finally breaks out the punt, which he hasn't done in a long time. That could be pretty cool. It'd be awesome if Kevin Owens returned, but who knows how his neck is doing, what if he's ever going to get cleared or if he's even close to being cleared. But I just wanted to bring that up just in case it does happen, so at least I said it. But I don't think it is going to happen that Kevin shows up. If Kevin comes back, it'd probably be on SmackDown after WrestleMania, but I don't think he's even ready, even close to it. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I think it'd be cool because Kevin's got obviously the history of both Cody and Orton. And Kevin has said in the past that he thinks that Cody is fake and how he's basically like putting on this pretend act, like being a good guy when he's not really a good guy. That was like his whole situation when they had their whole rivalry a couple years ago. So that could be cool if Kevin comes back and gets involved somehow. Maybe pile drives Pat McAfee. That'd be pretty sick. But I do think that Orton's going to win, and so does Hayde. So one more thing before we move to night number 2 and talk about that is John Cena being speaking of him in the whole main event thing that we were just talking about, John Cena is going to be hosting night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. So it's their way of getting John Cena back in the WWE without having him to put on the jorts. He's going to be in a suit because he's been on record saying that once he was retired, which now he is, he's never going to put on the jorts again. He's never going to put on the sweatbands and the t-shirts, all that kind of stuff. He's not going to have that. So I would assume he's going to be in a suit. I guess I could be wrong. He could be wearing something else that's not the suit, but also not the jorts. But most likely, knowing John Cena, it's going to be a suit. So he's going to be the host of night 1 and night 2. He's probably going to have some shenanigans happen where some comedy skits. Maybe he comes in contact with Javon Evans. That could be cool. Maybe he comes in contact with R-Truth again. That also could be pretty funny. But the main one, and the one that Hayde has on his notes, is that he comes into contact with Danhausen. Because Danhausen has gone on record. He said, I think it was to Adam Pearce. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was Adam Pearce. Could have been Nick Aldis, but I think it was Adam Pearce. He said that he wants to meet John Cena at WrestleMania. And the fact that they even brought that up and said it in a promo, said it in a segment, means that it's probably going to happen. So, and who doesn't want to see John Cena and Danhausen talk with each other? So I think that could be pretty fun. I think that's probably what's going to happen. And it's going to be hilarious. I mean, I don't know what John Cena is going to do. I'm sure he's going to have some multiple segments on both nights. And it's just, I'm guessing one of them is going to be with Danhausen. Maybe they curse somebody together. Maybe Danhausen curses John Cena. I have no idea, but they're definitely going to meet, and it's going to be hilarious, whatever it is. And one other thing One other thing that Hayde wants to point out is that he thinks Stone Cold Steve Austin could make an appearance on night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania. He thinks that Austin's going to be in attendance and come out and have the glass shatter and he does something. Maybe he brings the ATV down and runs over another woman in the audience. Who knows? But he does think that Stone Cold could show up at WrestleMania, which, I mean, it could happen. You never know. I mean, Stone Cold, I wouldn't put it past him to show up. But that is our recap of night 1 of WrestleMania. I cannot wait to actually watch the show and see if my predictions are correct, see if Hayden's predictions are correct, and see if my fantasy team does pretty well, because I've got a lot of guys on both night 1 and night 2 that I got a lot of implications for my fantasy team. So hopefully they all win. Hopefully I get those big championship points from Liv Morgan, and we'll go from there. So that is going to do it for night 1 of our WrestleMania 42 recap. I hope you all enjoyed, and we will catch you for night 2's recap.